yes, yes, yo, and you don't stop. The mainframe, yo, they gotta be the sure shot. Yes, yes, yo, and you don't stop. To the beat, yo, and you don't stop. Yes, yes, yo, and you don't stop. 1, 2, comp is going.
Welcome back, it's Fox at FOXY Games _UK with another video. Subscribe to the channel and follow via Twitter for your source of aggregate news, rumour and video game discussion with an emphasis on PlayStation, but spanning a variety of platforms. If you are new to the channel, welcome, and do let us know how you found us, and remember to thumbs up the video if you liked. Views expressed in our videos are those of third parties and do not necessarily represent the views of FOXY Games UK, and all relevant links can be found in this video's description. Okay, so that's the formalities out of the way, let's get straight into it. So, some very interesting info has materialized regarding PS4, Xbox One and Nintendo Switch sales for 2017/2018 via Electronic Arts financial conference call for the fourth quarter of fiscal year 2018, and courtesy of JoeShockers.com, here's the full story. EA's Chief Financial Officer Blake Jorgensen talked about the company's predictions regarding console sales in the current year. The publisher expects PS4 and Xbox One to continue to be strong and the combined install base of the two consoles to grow to 130 million units by the end of the calendar year 2018. We also get an estimate of 103 million units really sold between the two by December 31st, 2017. This means that if EA's estimate is correct, the Xbox One should have sold around 29.4 million units by December 31st, 2017, considering that Sony itself estimates to have sold around 73.6 million units in that same date or within the same date. Of course, that's assuming that Sony's own estimates are accurate as well. The margin of error with estimates is pretty wide, especially when combining them. Jorgensen also added that the publisher expects the Nintendo Switch to have built an install base of around 30 million units sold by December 21st, 2018. And that's where this particular article ends. Now look, this sub 30 million figure is now the thing of much contention across social media. Funny how that happens, huh? Some are saying EA's overall figure does not include Xbox One and X Japan figures, which really wouldn't make much of a difference considering Microsoft has barely scraped past 100,000 units sold in the region, and some are claiming the real Xbox One install numbers are obviously in how many active Xbox Live users there are, currently 60 million if you believe Microsoft, meaning that there should be, in theory, 60 million Xbox Ones sold into homes. It is hilarious when you consider Sony has around 30 million paid up PlayStation Plus subscribers and have sold close to 80 million PlayStation 4s. The PS4 is about to eclipse PS3's total 8-year life cycle in around half the time. Microsoft are claiming 60 million live users, which on paper seems to outshine Sony's numbers, but Microsoft are counting all of Xbox Live's users, that's silver and gold. Why doesn't Microsoft just tell us how many of that 60 million is actually a paid up gold subscriber? Because silver is free to access for the likes of Netflix, messaging, party chats, elements of Mixer and other apps that have nothing, absolutely nothing to do with accessing multiplayer online. Sony on the other hand have approximately 70 million active PlayStation Network users, with around 30 million of those signed up to PlayStation Plus. The difference I see in the two companies lies mostly in transparency. Now, you'd have thought Xbox One was well on its way to hitting 40 to 45 million by now, but what happened to Microsoft hitting 35 million by this time last year? Perhaps we should just chalk it up to either poor PR in that Microsoft refused to communicate actual numbers instead of Xbox Live engagement, or members of the community propagating yet even more inaccurate and misleading news as if they've convinced themselves they're on Microsoft's marketing payroll. But I'm really sad to tell you that Aaron Greenberg already has the job. Well, what do you think? Let us know in the comments. In other news, Wedbush Securities analyst Michael Pachter has weighed in on the Microsoft studio Rare and its latest IP, Sea of Thieves. Here's the full story. While Sony recently launched God of War and Nintendo is coming off of a hot streak of Zelda, Mario and Xenoblade 2, Microsoft's first big exclusive game launch in a while, Sea of Thieves, which has been under development for around 4 years at the very least, met with divided reception upon its release. It became yet another title to add to Microsoft's ever-growing list of games that failed to resonate as widely as Nintendo and Sony's games do. But why did this happen? Well, this question was posed to analyst Michael Pachter, who interestingly had this to say, and I quote, "You know, I mean this with respect, but I think they have limited capacity within their studios to innovate. So the 343 guys do Halo and that's great, and it challenges them to the max to come up with some new twists every 2 to 3 years on Halo, and the Coalition guys do Gears, and it's the same thing for them. Rare on the other hand, Rare has just not been very good at innovation." Well, Michael Pachter added that pirate games represent a niche genre to begin with, at least in terms of his own personal preferences. He went on to say, "I think the pirate genre is just outrageously stupid, but again, that's just me. It's not my thing. I didn't like Assassin's Creed Black Flag because of the pirate stuff, but I know many people who do like that. So I think it's a niche audience, and I'm not that motivated to go find 400 treasure chests and put them on my ship. It makes me look like a container or a cargo ship. I'm not into that at all. I don't get it. I don't personally like games where you play multiplayer and other games go get your stuff, but you have to go get your weapons and gear back. It's not my kind of thing." Pachter went on to talk about why Sea of Thieves is just the latest Microsoft game that failed to gain wide attraction, comparing Microsoft's slate of studios with Sony's, to point out that Microsoft simply doesn't have as many studios as their competitors. Yeah, I think the decisions Microsoft makes on what games to really make are based on the talent they have internally. And as for Rare, I think this is what they've got. This is the best they can come up with, so it's hard. And there's lots of rumors about Microsoft buying someone, whether EA or Bethesda, and these rumors are based upon the commonly held perception that Microsoft needs more first-party content. I honestly think that Sony has a deeper bandwidth of talented studios. They have multiple 90+ ratings among them, and Microsoft doesn't have as many. They had Lionhead, and that didn't work out very well, and they've stuck with Rare for around 20 years and that didn't work out. I just think Rare has gotten worse and worse. Speaking on State of Decay 2, Pachter sounded more optimistic, stating that in spite of the zombie fatigue, it's been long enough since the original State of Decay that a sequel might just do well enough. Pachter said, "Well, hey, another zombie game, you know, State of Decay is fun, it's goofy, and that I can get because it's so silly. And I love the first one, but it's actually one of the reasons I am tired of zombie games, because I feel like I have done everything, but yeah, it's been long enough that I think it might actually work." Now, I think on the whole, Pachter isn't wrong about Microsoft lacking the kind of bandwidth that Sony has with its studios, leading to a lot of Microsoft's problems, and there is no denying that. But that said, Xbox boss Phil Spencer has recently indicated that this is a problem he's aware of and actively working on, so it'll be interesting to see where Microsoft ends up in the coming few years on this front. And that's where that particular article ends. In other news, it's sad news for many, but Nintendo's Virtual Console is not coming to Switch, and that's straight from Nintendo. In the wake of news that the Nintendo Switch's online subscription service will include a Netflix-like library of NES games, fans have been wondering, is the Virtual Console ever coming back? The answer to that question is no, at least according to Nintendo. There are no current plans to bring classic games together under the Virtual Console banner, as has been done on other Nintendo systems, a Nintendo spokesperson told Kotaku in an email. That doesn't mean Nintendo plans to ignore its older games on Switch, but it does mean that there won't be a dedicated brand for the classics. Nintendo's previous 3 gaming consoles, the Wii, the 3DS, and Wii U, each had their versions of the Virtual Console, a branded shop with a limited selection of classic games from the NES, Super NES, Nintendo 64, and many other platforms. You could just buy and download Virtual Console games piecemeal and play them on your new console with some extra features like save states. Although the library was fragmented and hard to keep track of, Final Fantasy VI, for example, is inexplicably only available on the Wii. The Virtual Console proved appealing to Nintendo fans who wanted to play or replay entries into the company's massive classic library, drumming up excitement every week as players waited to see which old games Nintendo would add to the store next. There are a variety of ways in which classic games from Nintendo and other publishers are made available on Switch, such as through Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Switch Online, Nintendo eShop, or as packaged collections. Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Switch Online will provide a fun new way to experience classic new games that will be different from the Virtual Console service thanks to enhancements such as added online play, voice chat via the Nintendo Switch Online app, and the various play modes of Nintendo Switch. One Japanese publisher, Hamster, has already released Switch ports of classic games from the Neo Geo arcade like Blazing Star and Fatal Fury. Sega has also announced plans to bring its classic Genesis games to Nintendo Switch's platform, a move that has signaled really the lack of a single unified store for classic games this time around. Now, before the system's launch, rumours had suggested the existence of a Switch Virtual Console that included GameCube games. When asked by Kotaku if games from other platforms will appear on the Switch's online subscription, Nintendo spokesperson said that the company had nothing to announce on this topic. And this is where the story ends. So, Virtual Console is dead, but in name only, because older Nintendo titles will be coming to Switch. Classics from NES to the GameCube era that I'm not concerned about. Nintendo are just not calling it Virtual Console. Nothing to see here. Move on.